Ooh, crazy, I love your train. Sometimes Sunday.
Occasionally.
When we bother to record.
It's been known. Hello, welcome to the Crazy Train. I'm your host, Rob Wade. With me from left to right is Omer Ibrahim.
You shall not speak.
Never a
I
true...
said you won't.
Never a truer fucking word. And Blake Homer.
Crazy, talking bollocks, crazy in my room.
Oh man, what was that from?
Rescue Rangers.
Thank you.
I'll just fuck off, shall I?
No, that's just driving me nuts for a second.
I know I used none of the original lyrics.
No, I'm sure. The tune was like instantly familiar, and yet I couldn't place it. As is so often the case with things I haven't thought about for decades.
Bloody 90s children's show.
I know, right? Well, I like this if you're a 90s baby. What, things from the 90s? Fucking imagine that.
Who thinks people from the 90s would enjoy things from the 90s? Like,
what are the odds, right?
well, do you know what I depress about? Like when you see those, click like if you, right?
Yeah.
I hate to be the type of person that I see that clicks those things. It's like they feel commanded.
Yeah.
I'll see like a picture of a game I played when I was a kid, and it'll be like, click like if you like this game, and I'll be like, I did like that game. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Right? But then you get people who go, click like if you love your mother and you don't want her to die, and then you'll see people go like, I must click. Even like that one's like not.
I took a photo of this dog when it was when looking a bit sad, even though he didn't. But I'm going to make up this tragic story.
Yeah.
Like equals one respect.
Yeah. But it's
like
it's
if you respect,
I think,
share if you love, ignore if you don't care about puppy death.
Yeah,
it's
but it's the non-important ones. Like, nobody wants puppy to die, as nobody wants your mum to die.
No.
It's the ones who are like, click like if you've seen this ladder, and people feel commanded to click like. I don't get that compulsion.
Ladder. But there's different things because I think they make money off it somehow.
Yeah.
Oh, eventually maybe.
Facebook.
Yeah.
If you hit enough Facebook reach, maybe you can serve ads or something. I don't know.
Maybe so. Yeah.
But I thought that's why these things started coming up because I thought they were the way they made
The
money.
the only one that ever got me in passing that I just went like was a group called You're Not My Real Ladder, You're My Step Ladder. And I was like, yeah, you get me, that one's a good one.
It's like my old joke when I used to do stand-up. I had a couple of like default ones for sort of one-line, short quick-fire jokes. And one of them was about unadopted highways and how I didn't want to be the one to sit a highway down in 18 years and tell him I wasn't his real dad. And the other one was... the thing about Facebook likes. And one of the first ones I ever saw was not being on fire. And I thought, what do I do? Because if I don't like this, it assumes that I like being on fire.
And one day somebody will go, I did see you didn't click that page.
Yeah, exactly.
Womp!
Somebody like the movie version.
I'm going to take your Walking Dead comments.
Yeah, somebody like my movie.
The movie of me.
Rob Wade the movie. It's basically a really, really fucking harsh Sims.
Blake became a fan of Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Well, Alan Moore set your comics on fire because it does. I hate everything, even the stuff I wrote and I like. I hate it.
Why my Cthulhu book? It's not very good.
Is it not?
Apparently, I've not actually read, but I've heard bad things about it.
Oh dear. Well, try again, Alan Moore. Try again.
You scary goat boy.
Shots fired.
You heard it here first. On some people nobody fucking heard of.
Nobody gives a shit, cast. Obscure. Talking about trains. I wonder if we serve up in automotive and transport. Message board and stuff. Listen to this crazy train.
No, this is so crazy. They don't even talk about trains.
Listen to this crazy train. The wheels sound ridiculous.
And it's on time.
You're stupid. I'm never on time.
No. So, Omer, you went to a wargaming con.
I did. Salute is the biggest one-day one in Britain, and it has become, considering actually I read that it started in like a little church hall with like 2 or 3 traders, it has now become the one to go to. Like, I was talking to a gamer friend in the States who was like, it's almost kind of legendary to them, and people do travel from all over Europe. I know there were a few people from the States.
So it's like their Eurogamer Expo, the gadget
totally,
show.
Yeah. Brand new things get launched there as well. For instance, there was one game I picked up called Jugular from Gripping Beast.
Okay.
And it is not released until mid or late May. But if you pre-ordered it, you could pick it up on the day.
Oh, okay.
Actually, they had loads on the shelves as well, which is cool. And I got to play the game with the designer, who's also the designer of one of
what better way to learn, right?
Exactly, yeah. From the there were 2 people leading the game. It's a gladiator combat game. There were 2 people, two games on the table of it at once. And I heard about one talking, and then I heard a guy with a French accent. And I said to him, like, one game freed up, the other one was still busy. Okay. And my missus was like, we'll go there and play it that way. I was like, no, that's Alex Michel, that's the guy who designed the game. Like, let's wait and play with him.
So did you want that name?
I dropped that right there. But yeah, no, what's really cool is that he speaks, like, fantastically fluent English.
So he's not a native English speaker then?
No, he's French. He's Frenchman. The game and the company are French.
Okay.
But he explained the game in not broken English, but French people use... I've noticed from this conversation, French people use no where we use yes. Not in a do you have this kind of way, but they'll be like, so you understand me, yeah? They'll say, you understand me, no?
Yeah.
And I also use the word too much. Because I introduced... he goes, hello, my name is Alex. I'm the designer of blah, 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 blah. We're now going to do a fight to introduce you to the rules to the game.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, that's like, you've already sold me this thing because you said the word too much.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was really fantastic game.
Well,
the show is...
Obviously, if he said it, it's the perfect amount.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you got a sale out of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Actually, as I was playing it, I already had the game in a bag at my feet.
It's almost as if there's no such thing as too many, isn't it?
But the show is fantastic. It's huge. It's in the Excel in London, and the room is packed.
That big, no?
I was about to ask,
it's massive.
Just for the benefits.
I have no idea how many people are there. I mean, to a point where most shows to get in, you pay sort of £3, £4. The most I paid was like £6.50.
Okay.
This was £11.
All right.
So it gives you the idea of like, but I mean, in that, you get your bag with like your magazine and that in it, and you get a dice and a free figure as well. So you're not getting nothing. They know they're an expensive show, but they've hired out the Excel.
But that's the funny thing is, like you say, they're an expensive show, but I mean, I've just booked up my tickets for Eurogamer this year, and it was £60 for the 4 days.
Well, there you go. That's different
for 4 days.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But yeah,
20 quid individually.
20 quid a day still. Yeah. But no. I mean, the companies wait until this day to release new stock, to show off new games and new products. There are loads and loads of people from Europe and that displaying new games. People release like one day only figures and things like that. And it's just...
I assume
it's
GW
the one.
had a big presence.
No, GW do not go to any other shows. Games Workshop only... They have their own big festival once a year, and they have a big headquarters. I may be wrong, I think it's in Nottingham.
That sounds about right.
They do not compete. There was a lot of Games Workshop there, obviously, because there are not only like designers and producers, there are also shops, and they will be selling Games Workshop's stuff because they sell.
I thought you couldn't go to a miniature wargaming type thing without Warhammer making a reference.
It is there, but Games Workshop themselves do not display at other shows.
Right.
They're to take it into wrestling, they're the WWE. You don't see WWE wrestlers on anybody else's shows.
Yeah.
But you might go to a PWG show and see a TNA guy.
Yeah.
It just surprised me because I thought I didn't realise.
There's a lot of it. You'll have stalls that are selling 90% Games Workshop stuff, and you'll have official Games Workshop dealers, of course, but you won't see a Games Workshop there.
Everything you want, dedicated store.
Yes. They wouldn't have that with their own special miniature for 40k.
No, there won't be any of that there. For that, they have their own tour.
So I'm surprised because again, like you would expect, not expect, but you'd kind of think that maybe they would take the opportunity to sell something like Forge World, which is much more niche and much more difficult.
They're all there, like I say, but you think that they would. But then again, maybe at their own convention they have their own convention every year.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a lot of the smaller companies have their own conventions every year as well, but I think they're just so much bigger than... I mean, for instance, their regular shop, like they have their big headquarters, I think, in Nottingham, is probably the size of this venue anyway, and that's there every day, and this rolls around once a year.
Yeah.
So they're that big. But yeah, I mean, on a positive note, it was great. I got into... There was a little game called... I still can't remember. It's called The Bash. And it's like a little tiny wrestling simulator game, but it's like there's a guy with a chainsaw and a guy who's like a baby demon and things like that. It's a little bit ludicrous.
Okay.
And
Ludicrous is in it.
Yeah,
nice.
Totally. I played it and really enjoyed it, and it was the price was fine, but it didn't come with miniatures, and because they're a small company, the miniatures were very expensive.
Right.
So I was kind of going to leave it, and then I mentioned I was like, well, can you do me a deal for all the miniatures? And the guy, again, played the designer of it, because it's such a small company. He went, there are cardboard miniatures in the box.
Okay.
I thought, what a shrewd move. because like the game was £22. I wouldn't have picked that up if I'd had to buy separate miniatures with separate rules in them. But you get 4 players in the box, and it's like, hey, if you want to buy the metal figures, you can buy them. If not, there are cardboard cutouts in the box. Because they wouldn't have made £22 if I'd have had to buy other figures. But by including what is probably less than 50p's worth of paper to them, they sold £22 worth of stock. And I thought, that's the first time I've actually seen like a replacement for their expensive miniatures, because they've obviously gone, well, we can't make them at a decent price. Let's give them something for next to nothing. And no, really, and it's really funny, silly. But you get all the dice and all your little chips and all the bits you need to play it. And the back of the box is the wrestling ring.
I've been
things like
very
that.
surprised that they didn't include anything with the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's £22. What do you get in the box? Fuck all.
You get a box.
A ring.
The back of the box is the board. Do you get rules? No.
No, that's what I mean. Though. I mean, Battle.
The kittens can wrestle in it.
Talking about BattleTech, obviously, I know me and Brad recently bought the new introductory set, which actually had proper plastic miniatures in it. Really nice quality ones, and a couple of promotional models in there as well. That I need to glue. Actually, I haven't done that yet.
Cool. I'm a sucker for things like that. Yeah.
But it's the thing that I used to have an old copy of it that went missing. Hence why I bought the new one, because I thought I might as well wait and get the decent one when it came out. But that was cardboard, and to be honest, it's a hex based map game, and with models on it, it looks better with models. But at the end of the day, as long as you have a cardboard piece facing the direction that you're meant to be facing, you don't.
Yeah, it's exactly the same with the Juggler, the Gladiator game I bought. They have released some beautiful models, and there are a lot of Gladiator models out there. But I'll be honest, there's not a lot I like. They're all a bit chunky and a bit cheesy looking. But
they're trying their best to exercise, dude. People keep feeding them Kindles.
The Gladiator models that are official for this game are a little bit bigger and kind of more realistic. They're very heroically, overly chiseled 300 style bodies, but they do look great.
Sorry, unrelated. I saw the most recent 300 movie the other day.
Oh, I never actually got around to seeing it.
It's the cheesiest fucking thing.
Well, the first one was too.
The first one, I still maintain, is not an amazing piece of cinema.
No,
I know you guys differ on that, but you're allowed to be.
It's a good movie, but in terms of
I kid, obviously.
I don't know. Yeah, it's fine to watch, but it's never going to go down as like Citizen Kane or anything like that.
Well, nor is it going for that.
It's an enjoyable action movie and nothing else.
I did qualify as like I enjoy watching it when I watch it. It's just I would never go out my way to watch it.
No,
it's just
I know what you mean. Yeah,
but good God,
was it really
the second one is just ridiculous. It's just
I guessed it was going to be stupid.
It is. It's kind of good, but like the action stuff again is like the
If you like the first one, would you recommend the second one?
Almost fuck all action in it. That's the only thing I would
really.
say. It's, it's almost like
for an action flick.
It's almost like the slow motion is too heavy on it. Like the slow motion pads out what little action there is. It's not actually a lot. A lot of it's more strategic. Almost.
Oh, okay.
So like, it's more about I can't even remember his fucking name. The guy from the one of the Athenian, like the famous one, like in this group. Let's just call him fucking Mephistopheles.
Mr. Not Achilles.
No, Mr. Mephistopheles. Fuck it.
Right. Okay.
So Mr. Mephistopheles is. Now I'm picturing it a lot differently.
Yeah.
So Mr. Mephistopheles is like this master strategist and stuff, and he's the guy who, spoilers, killed Darius in the storyline. So, Mr.
Well, the X Factor singer.
Yeah, that guy.
Right.
Rudy! So,
this is Athens!
So, Mr. Mephistopheles kills Rydian. Fuck, I'm making a better movie.
He killed Naked Midian.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm making a better movie. And he's got this he's got the son Xerxes, and he's got the daughter, like a sort of adopted daughter who's Eva Green from Casino Royale. Who's like gorgeous, so I'll quite happily watch any movie with her in for 2 hours. But the movie is more about like her trying to sort of destroy his army, which is very small, similar to the 300, but not as small. But and it's about him trying to sort of prolong the battle for as much as possible while reducing the amount of men they lose, so that they when they do get reinforcements, which is the whole behind the scenes plot with like Lena Headey and trying.
Okay, you're waiting for his send.
The first 300 movies, so he's still waiting for backup from all the other sort of Greek states and stuff. So that's basically what the movie's about. It's like 2 hours of that. But to give you an idea, I saw Grand Budapest Hotel the week before, and I enjoyed that much more.
Oh, really?
And that's like next to no action.
Actually, sounds like some of the old, like the classic golden era, or maybe slightly later Roman movies.
Okay.
Because they didn't often have the budget to include like entire Roman armies.
Yeah.
So the plot was often here come the cavalry almost, and to the point where it's become such a staple that when I read like some Roman historical fiction, I've read 2 books where by Simon Scarrow where the whole plot is hold the city until they turn up, and it can be super exciting, but it also, I think it might make a better book than it does a movie because there's not a lot happening. So to go back to wargaming a little bit, there's a lot of difference between like open battlefront style war games where 2 sides clash is very exciting, but playing something like Rorke's Drift, the Zulu scenario, or any kind of siege scenario means one army basically trying to storm the walls and the other army staying still, and that makes a really boring game a lot of the time. And in terms of movies, it's the same sort of thing. Like waiting for the reinforcements to arrive is really, really important and exciting, but you can't portray it.
That said, I really enjoyed Rorke's Drift because I found it was a bit tense trying to keep them all keep everyone
I mean the one game, there's a game called Zulu and the Ramparts. That is the battle.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about that.
No, I mean that game specifically does it really well because there's lots of off-camera
and things
games
happen that you're not aware of. And
but in terms of like,
random
say you took a miniatures war game, or even imagine like a computer game where you were the English soldiers trying to hold the fort from the Zulus. It involves you staying still and firing in a straight line, and that can get pretty repetitive and boring. And
it's called Horde mode.
Pretty much.
I mean, there was only one 300 game on the PSP, and that was similar to what it was. Form the phalanx and wait for the bad guys to fall on you.
I heard it was terrible.
I enjoyed it as a stupid. It was like God of War diet.
That's pretty much what it was.
There was some
all of the Kratos, none of the calories.
Kratos light.
No blood at all.
You're like Mortal of War.
Bloke of War.
Barry of War.
So I don't know. I did want to see it, but I didn't actually get around to see it.
Like Bloke of War is just Kratos with no powers whatsoever. He's just a really gobby little shit.
I'll throw my chain with a stick on the end.
The interesting thing with 300 is like I've talked about it before that like the gap between the Spartan army forming up afterwards was 10 years and Sparta was sacked and all that. But like beyond that, like
a football manager, we've decided to part company with Sparta. I realise it's 4 games before the end of the season, but we think that our caretaker boss Athena can turn things around.
Like the story afterwards, like. Unless you're, a historian of ancient Greek culture and you like reading that stuff.
Oh, well, you're in luck.
But that's the thing is, like, how do they make a movie out of the bit after the exciting bit? Like, the Battle of Thermopylae is known as, this amazing fight against the odds, and then they died, and but the sacrifice they made.
Fight against the odds of, like, not to the same degree as what they're portraying in the film, but, like, still thousands thousands versus tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands, almost millions. But, like, that was the big exciting end of it, and then it's them, like... And then, how do you make an exciting movie out of that? As a history buff, I don't know where history went after that. I couldn't tell you what happened immediately after the Battle of Thermopylae, and so it'd be interesting. They'd have to probably that's why the story may have faltered a little bit because they had to write something instead of follow a poetic version.
Well, I must admit, when they announced there was going to be a sequel at all, I just went, "Why?"
I was the same.
To go like without talking too much about the plot of it in too much depth. It's not entirely technically a sequel. A lot of it follows in parallel to 300.
Right. Okay.
So there's bits where it's like, we just heard this about the battle of the 300 Spartans or whatever. Like, there's a point halfway through, I think, the second film where it's like, Leonidas has taken 300 Spartans to the hot gates, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So it's
so it's not a timeline sequel. It's an also ran.
Other stuff banging
alongside.
Other stuff banging on at this specific time.
Because it wasn't just like the entire of Greece wasn't just enraptured by Leonidas' story. There was a lot of
people.
They weren't all just sitting there with binoculars.
People don't forget that. Like when they say the Dark Ages, and in Britain, the Vikings were raiding. Meanwhile, Byzantine Empire was working out new forms of language and descriptive writing. It's like it wasn't really that dark. It was just kind of dark in a few places.
Also, the Byzantine Empire is who I can thank for adjectives.
Before things were just kind of good.
Now
they're really good.
That's
true.
That's an episode of Sesame Street I want to see.
What?
And this adjective was brought to you by the Byzantine Empire.
You can for the word.
Is it actually Byzantine or Byzantine?
I say, don't get me started. I say Byzantine or Byzantine.
Okay.
But I've heard every pronunciation under
Byzantine.
Yeah. I heard an expert on it just getting it consistently wrong the other day.
Was he changing it midway?
Yes. No, he was changing it.
Occasionally he'd just go, I don't know, fuck it, Dutch.
What was really good was I had Simon Scarrow audiobook the other day,
right.
and the book was called Praetorian or Praetorian,
right.
and the guy reading it just had narrator, had literally no idea what the word was and kept changing it. It was like Praetorian, wow. And then I was like, you have to read a book with that fucking word.
Yeah.
Google that shit. Just before you read the book, be like, Priya. Or pre.
It's like getting the Star Wars audiobook and
Darth
Vader.
Yeah.
I thought it was Praetorian for that.
Praetorian's fine. Praetorian, but it's not.
Because I saw the AE, so I assumed it was Prey.
Prey, yeah.
Yeah, I've always heard it as
That's how I just did it phonetically.
Praetorian is more like, sounds like a right Latin spelling.
Yeah. If in doubt, I normally pronounce things phonetically. And
yeah, But that's the thing. It's like I was talking to somebody the other day about Boadicea.
Yeah.
Boudica. We don't know. Because she probably didn't even know how to fucking spell her name.
I think, imagine she had a rough idea.
No, she probably couldn't write. She
probably
knew how to say it.
They didn't go, "Oi, you crazy bitch."
I don't know, call me Dutch.
But I was reading an article the other day.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
It's hard to believe that writing was invented.
Yeah.
Right? And then it took hundreds of years before spaces between words were invented.
Wow.
So, do you know what I mean? How would you know how to spell your own name?
Wasn't that why, telegrams use stop to...
Yes, yeah, because otherwise, how do you send a space?
Yeah.
You don't know if it's the end of a sentence or...
No, it's the end of a sentence, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It took
hundreds of years. Telegrams generally get read by the word, not by the letter. I don't know if you can one. It's not just like GEOFF space SAYS.
I know when to send a telegram.
It's just stop.
I know when to send a Morse code, but it's just like Jeff. What about Jeff? He's fine.
He's saying
Jeff.
S.O. Jeff. Save our Jeff.
SOS, save our Jeff. But yeah, you can imagine these people didn't know how to spell their own names anyway.
I guess not. No.
So, I think it's the movie. No, not at all. It's just that it wasn't necessary. I think it's the movie Ironclad. Okay. There's a monk sits down with one of the guys and he's like, right, what's your name? And then he takes a piece of paper and a piece of ink and he's like, that's your name. He's like, really? I've never seen that before in my life. Wow. And then he takes a piece of parchment and he then learns how to write his name. Yeah. And it's actually a piece of graffiti on Rochester's walls. And they've kind of written it that it was quite cutely this guy that was there during the siege who learned to write his name and then scratched it into the wall forever.
And then somebody else right underneath is a bender. In the true spirit of graffiti.
Yeah.
For hot times, call Thermistocles.
Apparently that's getting a sequel.
For Ironclad.
Yeah.
Or
Themistocles does Dallas.
Yeah. Themistocles' hot love explosion.
Yeah, but again, after Ironclad's about the siege of Rochester Castle. I can't think.
Rochester's Castle's known well for its fucking sieges.
Yeah, but I can't think what you would go next because the king's dead 2 months after the siege of Rochester Castle.
Hang on, let me think. Based on sort of local
There's probably something else going on that's not Rochester Castle.
AFC and Strood? It depends on which way you came from, because if you've been past Chatham Dockyard and potentially CEX, and then you go to Rochester Castle, and then you hit Strood KFC, and then you get on the A2.
Oh no, there's a B&Q.
Yeah, but you're on the same path.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of nights shopping and B&Q for now.
Yeah, you're going to do the siege, the Battle of Matalan.
No, I've got
it. They're just sitting there going, bloody hell, it's never in the aisle you think it is it?
It's when the big Strood... It's when that big Strood nightclub became a bingo hall. That'll be the story, yeah. It'll be them taking over.
There you go, yeah.
Ironclad 2, bingo.
Full House of Doom.
Bingo clad.
Ironclad 3, the legend of the Tap and Tin.
Jesus Christ, I can tell you some siege stories from inside the Tap and Tin.
I've been involved in a few.
When they sent those burning pigs underneath the first floor.
Oh no, I tried to just bring the walls down with vomit, I think. Well, they will insist on selling cheap stuff.
It's the fucking burgers.
Drinks, stuff.
If there is a burger I don't have to pay for, I'm going to judge its quality as poor.
Yeah, well, quite. I'm going to just not eat one.
Yeah. Oh no, I used to give them a quid and get a double burger.
Okay, fair enough.
and then pay an extra quid to destroy toilets.
Okay, fair enough.
You're going to have to pay me for those toilets, sir. Look at the state of them; they're worth at least a quid.
Well, to be fair, you destroy toilets by your death rate.
Yeah, I tend to take toilets.
Your
with me.
over-shitting capability. Your +1 shit.
I wear arse cheeks into the toilet.
Yeah.
Omer required +1 defecation.
I forged a bum groove.
I'm then forward to bum groove. Cha-ching!
Ba, 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 ba.
I poo a lot. I met somebody for the first time the other day.
It's funny because he poos.
I walked into my friend's house. Like we got back from somewhere, and I was just like, "I'm going to go for a poo." She was like, "Really? Yeah. Now you know one thing about me. I poo a lot."
So speaking of that thing we were just talking about, WrestleMania recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that for a thing?
I think I mentioned. Also, I went away and watched it with friends and stayed up in Coventry and watched it with a big group of friends. It was quite something. Like looking back on the show, like watching it at the time, I remember thinking that's all right. Looking back at it now, I was like, they created some real moments.
Yeah.
Like the big story. I think we can do spoilers by now, right?
It's been a month.
Yeah.
So I think I'm like,
Plus, it was all over Facebook.
Yeah, that's true.
It's also like predetermined. So
Yeah.
like,
What?
Yeah. It's still real to me, damn.
I went on Jimmy Snooker and I did it for real.
As a point, actually, I don't actually know the answer to this. Did you win against? Did you go over Jimmy Snooker, or did he beat you?
I can't. Right. It was a big tag match and it was elimination.
Okay.
I tagged in. There's the story, guys. I tagged in. Jimmy Snooker was in the ring. We exchanged a couple of little holes. It was nothing more than a wrist lock. So he tagged out, and then the guy he tagged eliminated me from the match.
Okay.
As to whether I beat him, I cannot remember which team won.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I think, because I was on obviously the bad team and he was on the good, I think the bad guys won.
Okay.
But then Jimmy Snooker and Joe Legend trapped the guy who had cheated to win in the ring, and there was a comeuppance
I see.
for him.
Okay.
So I think technically I beat him, even though I was already eliminated.
Yeah.
But yeah, talking of losses,
Yeah.
the Undertaker's streak was broken.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Everybody was complaining about it, and I'm not trying to be the smug guy. I know a couple of dickheads who are like, "Oh, well, I know what's best for business." I'm sure I don't, but all I know is it shut up an entire room full of noisy, half-drunk wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like for 2 minutes, the only words in the room were things like "what," "eh," like it 1, 2, 3, and we just stopped.
And you're just like, no.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was it.
And you're expecting like a rundown of like, oh, this didn't. Something happened.
Yeah, we're expecting anything to happen, and that was it. And I'm now telling you about it. I'm remembering that room and that moment. What they gave us there is like, I fall in and out of love with the WWE. I fall in and out of love with wrestling a lot of the time, as you will do with anything you're passionate about when it upsets you.
Sure.
But at that minute, that feeling, I had never felt a pure whoa moment before. I'd been excited, I'd been shocked, I'd been upset.
Yeah.
I'd never just been numbed by what was happening.
And do you know what it is? I think it was designed to give that reaction to people who think they're too old for it.
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah, wrestlers are the most cynical wrestling fans you'll ever meet.
I just mean like adults.
Yeah.
I mean,
the magic was back
I
for 5
say
minutes.
adults, but given some of the fucking whining that's been going on about Daniel Bryan, I was actually kind of hoping that he didn't get anything he wanted, but not for his, not to piss him off, because I can't fucking stand his fans.
Yeah, oh, totally. I
love Daniel Bryan. But
Daniel Bryan's moment was on the opposite end of the Undertaker's moment. Undertaker's moment stunned everybody to silence. And I've met Daniel Bryan, he's wrestled for the company that I work for in Coventry, and we all exploded when he won the belt because it's just such.
Literally.
Here's the best thing about it. There's a little side story to WrestleMania is that my friend says they've got a newborn baby. Was not quite 2 weeks old when WrestleMania was on, and the baby's in the front row seat, and we all get back from the show and that, and the mum is still there, and she's like, he'll wake up in a little minute. When he does, I'll give him a cuddle, and then I'll go put him to bed upstairs. Right. So we're all watching WrestleMania like this, yeah? And the first matches are on, and we're like, oh yeah, great, that was great. And slowly the volume creeps up, bit by bit, until we're kind of at talking volume. And then eventually we're just shouting, because this baby is not waking up. Right, so we're just like, fuck it.
Did somebody check to make sure it was all right?
At this point, we're like, hey, when he wakes up, he'll go to bed.
If
right?
he wakes up.
Yeah, exactly. With no word of a lie, during the John Cena match, he waved his hand in front of his face as if he was doing a "you can't see me."
Amazing.
Purely, baby stretching in his sleep.
Purely demographic thing.
Yeah, of course. And when we all were stunned to silence by the Undertaker, woke up.
Started crying.
We were joking that it's because he was an Undertaker fan.
Mate, he put 10 quid on Brock Lesnar. It's like, I can't believe that came off.
Yeah. Oh, one guy put a bet on on Lesnar.
Yeah.
I think he got like 350,000. It was a big bet.
Yeah.
But he still turned around like 350,000.
So that would make me like a little suspicious because it's different to bet on something like, a football match.
Yeah.
Was that actually a bet? I guess.
You can bet on pro wrestling.
No, you don't know the outcome, do you?
No, most people don't. But then, I don't see the line. Like,
it's difficult because
it is.
It's a Vince McMahon thing.
It is predetermined.
Yeah, all it takes is for somebody to whisper, "Taker's going to lose tonight."
Yeah,
and somebody can make a million.
£350,000.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I personally, if I ran a bookies as a private one, if I managed a company, I wouldn't take bets on pro wrestling.
No.
I wouldn't, because it is a predetermined. That's like it's like taking a bet on if the sun comes up tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's predetermined. I would take a bet. I would take a bet.
That's the least of my worries.
I would take a bet that it wouldn't come up. But what would the odds be on the sun coming up tomorrow?
Pretty good.
Exactly.
Pretty
shit.
Yeah.
You're not going to earn anything. I wouldn't take a bet on it because it's a certainty.
It's 1 in 1.
What the odds of that happening?
Give me £1 and I'll give you £1 back. But
yeah.
You'd probably be able to lose. You'd probably come back with 99p. Betting on wrestling is a weird one.
Yeah.
And the fact that the odds change during the matches.
I don't understand that.
Like, you can bet on a football match like 3 minutes into the game, 10 minutes into the game, 17 minutes into the game, half time, 89 minutes into the game,
And they've had, like, for instance, in the footballing world, there was, I think it was end of last season, there was a game 4-0 at half time up to Arsenal. Came back to 4-4 by the end. Now, if you bet on the draw at half time, you've got significantly good odds.
Exactly, yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that can happen.
And if it had gone to 5-4, and you bet on a win and either way,
exactly,
it would have been spectacular because the odds at that moment. So I get being able to bet during live sports, but during a predetermined, it's like betting on a movie
or a computer game.
Yeah. It's like watching, I don't know, like watching Titanic. Oh no, I mean, you know the ending of Titanic, right? No, okay, no. I'll tell you what.
Betting on history.
It's like betting on Game of Thrones.
Okay.
You can tell sometimes. I've only seen first series, but sometimes you go, that guy's going to die. He's superfluous. Right. It'd be like taking a bet on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's predetermined. Apart from anything, if you've read the fucking book.
Yeah, there's that. And
I'm pretty sure you can bet on Game of
Thrones. If
you
see Sean Bean's character in that list, you're just like, fuck, he's done.
You need to watch Black Death. He nearly dies about 3 times in that movie.
Yeah, I bet he does.
Spoilers. It can't be a spoiler that a guy doesn't die. That's weird.
Yeah, and yet there it is. Sean Bean. It's
a great movie, actually.
There was a great article headline I saw today from I think it was IGN, and it was like, they don't just talk about video games; they talk about like other shows, like TV shows as well. It was Sean Bean talks about his new spy series, and then small pause, and whether he's going to last to the end of it.
We forget he did Sharp. He did pretty well in that.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to kill off your main character.
Yeah.
You kill off the titular character at the beginning of the series. You don't really know where to go from there. It's not like it's called Game of Ned Stark, is it? Sorry, spoilers.
No, it's weird, like the way characters. Like I read, but you can still add peril. I read there's a really good Bona Kulmov series, same guy who wrote Sharp, his Utrecht Saxon series.
Yeah.
And the protagonist is the main character, obviously.
Sure.
It's written from his point of view. But still, you face peril. He might not survive this book.
Yeah.
Because, how you do that when you know that there's like you were saying, betting on it. You could bet that he dies in the next book, even though if he does do it, he loses out on a book, on a character, on a franchise.
On that subject, actually, I'd like to get the thoughts of the people in the room. Spoilers. How long is too long? Like, how long is acceptable before you start? How long has something been out before you...
Depending on what it is and how much you'd have to pay to see it.
Okay.
If I'd have paid, like 20 or 25 quid to watch WrestleMania?
Okay.
If I'd have paid... I watched it live.
Yeah.
If I'd have paid that, but, I had work or whatever and couldn't stay up until 4 in the morning...
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen that the next day when I woke up for breakfast and I'm just reading my Facebook feed...
Yeah.
I'd have been pissed that I'd have wasted 25 quid.
Right. So if you bought it but didn't have a chance to watch it,
then I would have been pissed. Yeah. But then again, avoid social media. It's not necessary.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, there's no reason you can't talk about it and go, that thing at WrestleMania, the Undertaker's match, comment, and then you wouldn't have to open it. You would, you might see 1 or 2 lines.
Well, the reason I ask is because there's been a lot of people being really kind of obnoxious and shitty on social media about Game of Thrones. because obviously the books have been out for like
the argument,
nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
People say it's all right to post spoilers the day after the TV the episode, like the day before the episode airs. I was like, well, fuck you, man. That's not.
It's not like it's fine to sit and post spoilers and talk about it, but there's a way to post these things. On wrestling forums, like when I used to be quite active on them, you used to just put like links that you had to, like, I don't know how you did it. It was effectively like we used to call it invisible link.
Yeah.
And you had to click and drag as if you were going to copy and paste.
Text colour.
Yeah, you put it in white, so you had to click and drag to read it. Like, there's no reason you couldn't do something along those lines.
Yeah, like my thing personally, the way I get around spoilers for things like, because obviously I'm now, because Game of Thrones is in series 4.
Yeah.
I've not read the books beyond the first one, so I know what's happened up to series 3 because obviously I watched the show. But I don't know what's going to happen in the sort of ensuing episodes. So and when the American ones aired, I stayed clear of social media until I've watched the English one. Okay. And that's the way to avoid spoilers.
I haven't seen that spoiler, but I already know what that spoiler is.
Okay.
And I haven't read the book. It's just social media. Well, apparently there was enough pictures and that posted around. I guessed what the spoiler was.
Yeah.
See, for me,
but also with Wrestlemania 30. What you said earlier, there was a guy who I've got in my Facebook friend that he does it with football matches as well. He will comment. He will be running a commentary as his status all the way through the bloody game, and he did that for Wrestlemania. So all I had to do was turn on Facebook, see 20 statuses by him,
who
and
lost,
I was
who won.
Pretty much. Here's
here's
I won't mind, but
10, a live spoiler,
but then
is a cunt.
Yeah, then again, 10 Facebook statuses about
this guy lost
about
this
the
guy
Undertaker. Won. I was just like, well, I don't need to watch it then.
No.
I watched the bit on YouTube when it happened, and I just went, I can't bother.
Yeah,
save me 25 quid.
yeah.
But like, my feeling is right. So, as a general rule, if you're kind of tweeting out about what's going to happen in the episode that's on tonight, you're a prick.
Yeah.
If you, in general, go out of your way to ruin somebody else's fun. And your argument is, well, you should know more than you do. You're a cunt.
Yeah,
you're an absolute fucking bellend. Like, if you go out of your way to be like, oh well, I've read the book, so I'm better than you, and here's the ending, ha 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 ha. You're a fucking prick.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine enough fucking poor things.
I have a weird thing with spoilers because sometimes, like for instance, take the Hobbit movies a minute. I haven't read the Hobbit.
Okay.
I've seen the first 2 movies, and I've got the book on my shelf. A friend bought it for me for Christmas. And I'm like, I really want to read it, but do I want to have watched the movies and then read the book in the reverse of the way a lot of people do? So it's like, not to cause arguments or anything, but maybe just for the sake of debating with some good friends who like Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, maybe it'd be nice to be the guy who's seen them the other way around, and then we can have a balanced debate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, I really want to know what happens.
To be fair,
so I've read the Wikipedia synopsis of what happens after the point that I know after the movies.
Okay.
I'm still not going to read the book until the next movie comes out.
Yeah.
But, so in terms of spoilers, for me, it's actually like, we were talking the other day, we were talking about the character we were trying to find the figure for.
Yes.
And you said, after such and such a point, he has this on him, so you could do that. And I went, what is it? And you went, he did this. And I went, okay.
Yeah.
But even you stopped and went, sure, like, it's a spoiler in Series 3 or whatever. And I was like, yeah, fine. I tend not to, with things like series and stuff like that, unless I'm super heavily invested, like the Spartacus series, I really don't mind spoilers. I almost kind of like to know what's coming to watch for it.
The thing is, like, I don't necessarily mind all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I knew, and obviously everybody knew going into episode 3 what was going to happen by the end.
Yeah.
Because
Star Wars.
He was going to be Darth
episode 3 and 4.
By the end of the movie, he was going to be Darth Vader.
Yes.
And he knew that because of fucking episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
The biggest spoilers of them all.
And even as a kid, I knew that there was going to be some kind of... I heard it was acid and he had a fight with Obi-Wan.
Okay.
Right, so I knew there was a fight and he became Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be lava, not acid.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing is, that's not a spoiler to me because George Lucas set that up in place so that you knew going in.
Yeah, but if you'd have said to me, I saw Star Wars last night, there's this bit where Anakin jumps forward and Luke, and Obi-Wan cuts off his limbs, and then there's this line where he says, you were meant to... That's a spoiler.
Yeah.
You've said too much. Don't describe it too perfectly to me until I've seen it myself.
I get what you mean.
Then again, on the same flip side, that's been out for quite a while now, and therefore it's probably okay to assume that most people think.
But when it came out...
But I read a letter in my... because I subscribe to a PlayStation magazine.
Okay.
When I was reading it, and there was a letter in there, a rather grumpy letter, talking about in your article about Red Dead Redemption, you gave away the ending. And he went like, I bought that game and I was getting ready to sit down and play it, and now I feel like it's spoiled for me. And they just went, well, whilst we apologise and normally try and review that was an error on our part. We do normally assume that after 5 years since the game came out, it's quite okay to give
I wonder that, maybe, probably because of the way social media tends to try to unite groups about things. Maybe there'll come a time when there is a period of spoilers where you're a dick if you do it beforehand.
I would like
certainly on things like games that will take 40 hours to reach the pinnacle of their story.
Yeah.
It's not like watching a movie and an hour and a half later you've sinned at Darth Vader.
Admittedly, Red Dead Redemption's quite a big game, so you would have to play it quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Something like, for instance, if Bioshock Infinite, when it came out, I steered clear of things like Reddit and people like that. Where
any review I ignore.
Yeah, where they're going to blitz through the game and know the ending by sort of 12 hours before.
I did that. Yahtzee.
He's fucking terrible for spoilers. He's really... the guy who does Zero Punctuation.
Oh, okay.
He's really bad for
I
spoilers.
started watching the Bioshock Infinite video, and then he started talking about the ending. He didn't actually spoil the ending.
Okay.
When I actually watched it after I beat the game. But when it got to that bit, I went, pause, not watching it anymore.
But that's the sensible approach to take. This is my feeling on it. So
he didn't say look away now or anything.
No,
he just said, he started talking, and that ending, he just went, and then I just went,
so
pause.
My feeling is people who go out of their way to spoil things are dickheads.
And it's because they want to feel they got one up on you. Yeah. I've seen that Bob Bobbington dies, and you don't know about it. Yeah, exactly.
Bastards! Yeah, I was just about to sit down and watch the Bob Bobbington Chronicles.
But isn't he?
That was the last episode.
Wasn't he the lead singer of Iron Maiden?
No, sorry, I'm really fucked off now.
Look, nobody watches it for Bob Bobbington anyway. It's all about Rob Robertson.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I suppose so.
His posh cousin.
Yeah, but I know lots of things. I know that bits and bobs about the Mass Effect trilogy, and I've not even.
Yeah, I'll pick up
off the
facts about series.
You do, but I mean, you kind of if you're
given.
But here's the other side of the coin, right? So on the one hand, yes, if you go out of your way to spoil stuff for people, I know somebody who's done this recently to somebody I know who's gone out of their way to go, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Here's what's going to happen in Series 4 of Game of Thrones. I'm like, you're a fucking arsehole, and I cannot wish enough bad things upon you. You're a fucking prick.
A bit internet.
I've often gone the other way. If somebody, a really good
I hope nothing happens to you ever.
Really good,
not that one.
When I was watching the Spartacus series, he a friend of mine had already seen it. I got Series 3 on DVD.
Okay.
Or Series 4, whatever it works out at. They did a prequel series.
Two or
one of the, they did Series 1, and then the actor who was going to play Spartacus fell ill,
right.
So they recorded a prequel series, and then they did 2 or 3.
Okay.
Because Andy Whitfield, the guy who was playing Spartacus, actually passed away, so they replaced him with another actor, but carried on.
Yeah.
So the prequel series was 6 episodes. It actually became really integral to the plot.
Right.
But it worked out well for them. Unfortunately, though, the actor died, but they did the best they could. But anyway, in Series 3, there's a character that there's a few characters, and you're like, will they die or not? Because historically, these people have to die. These people we don't know about. And he told me that a character died. He kind of let slip, and I was like, "Oh shit, man, you've ruined that for me." He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Yeah. When I finished watching the series, he survived. So he'd actually planted that on me to give me a little bit more excitement.
Oh, okay.
And when he survived and the series ended, I was waiting for him to die. And when he didn't die, I was like, "Yeah, awesome."
Yeah,
he survived.
Okay.
And it was a reverse spoiler.
You're a lying prick.
Yeah.
And
I've actually done that a few times. There's a way of. Drop back to The Hobbit. Do you know the plot? Do you know the end of the plot?
I can tell you what happens because there's really obvious hooks in the second.
Yeah, of course. But if I were to say to you, oh, so you know about the Black Arrow? You either get it. Rob just looked at me as if he kind of knows what I'm on about.
Yeah.
You get it or you don't. And if I go the thing with when he does the thing, and I can just hint at something. Yeah. If you don't get it, I go, cool. You obviously don't know enough. I'll wait until the movie comes out. And I'm going to ruin it for you. And if somebody else is in the room is going, oh, with the Black Arrow, he does the thing. I'll be like, yeah, isn't that a cool way of to anybody who's heard that now who knows The Hobbit really, really well, the plot of The Hobbit, they'll go, oh yeah, the Black Arrow, he does that with.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the way to kind of talk to somebody about it when you don't know.
Okay.
For me,
don't just be like, did you see when that bloke died?
For me, nothing is spoiled in The Hobbit because I have read the book.
Yeah.
But admittedly, I read it when I was about 10.
Exactly.
So it is actually, the film is almost
new,
reminding me as I'm watching it.
Yeah.
To the point, because it was so long ago since I read it, I find it hard to remember which bits were in it and which bits weren't.
That's true, yeah.
Well, also
I know some bits are definitely added in because I knew the bits where all the necromancer is in the book.
But also, Peter Jackson's added in a few bits.
And done really well with those.
Yeah.
It explains where
obviously Legolas wasn't in it, I remember that, but
it explains where Gandalf fucked off to.
Yeah.
I think it was covered in the Silmarillion anyway that he did.
Probably in the Silmarillion.
He was fighting a necromancer at that point anyway. It was mentioned, and it was heavily hinted that it was Valibar for people who haven't watched it. But
Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah.
No, it is.
No, that's Smaug.
No, but
the necromancer.
The silhouette of the necromancer.
He's also
I didn't know that.
No,
and his voice in the second movie is Benedict again.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Because
just assumed it was the guy from last time.
When you have
sorry.
When you have a good actor, they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
See the new movie Pompeii starring Jon Snow from Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And the new series, I can't remember what it's called, but it's set in like the sort of Gold Rush. And it stars Rob Stark.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Sherlock?
Yes.
No,
Can I raise one simple question? Because I've only just recently started watching it.
Okay.
And it's just a small criticism, not a big one, but it seems to me that there's a lot of people I know not big Doctor Who fans.
Right.
Yet like this programme Sherlock. And I've seen 2 episodes of the first series, and I sat there and went, Sherlock acts exactly like Matt Smith does in Doctor Who.
My only thing about Sherlock, because I like the first 2 series, I'm not so keen on the third one, the one that just finished. Series 1 and 2, the only criticism I have of it is that Sherlock Holmes in the books has always been a kind of very antisocial. He only really deals with the people he respects, and he doesn't really respect many people and stuff, and he comes off as a bit of a dick to anybody who's not Watson and occasionally Lestrade. But even then he's always like, Lestrade, you're a fucking imbecile or whatever, like in as many words. He doesn't actually say that.
He's hyper intelligent.
Holmes is just like, bitch, you want to throw down?
He's also like a depressive addict.
He's like
I haven't read the books that I should.
But again, a depressive substance abuser probably doesn't make a really good Saturday evening viewing character.
He's too far in the other direction to me. He's too sociable. Like he laughs. He's laughing and joking with police officers. He's never talked to those people.
But I think the way his mindset working, he's going, "Oh, I'm stupid. I should have got there. We'll get there. I should have thought of that. I'm a fool for not thinking that.
Oh, that's the gas on.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. Where he always clicks his fingers or gets things and talks about stuff that the other people don't understand.
Yeah.
That's exactly how. I just went, if you chuck aliens in this is fucking Matt Smith, Doctor Who.
Is it
Doctor Who.
much like the BBC series Merlin?
Yes.
Somebody, I can't remember who said it to me now, but it struck home and struck as very true that show could be any other show, but they stuck a Merlin franchise on top of it. Yeah. Like the plots don't relate. Apart from I saw the very last episode. I didn't watch it religiously, but I watched the last episode, and it was the big battle of the end of.
It was Battle of Mr. Mistopheles.
It was Arthur's death, and and all the story came ahead. Yeah. But for the rest of the series, it could have been Doctor Who, it could have been Big Bang Theory, it could have been anything. Yeah. They just had it set in those times, and any time they needed kind of technology to bridge the gap in the plot, it was magic. Yeah. And do you feel like Sherlock might be the same sort of thing? Then they've shut.
No, Sherlock. I think they've obviously taken influences from the book.
Yeah, but could he be any?
I read some stuff about the first episode, which actually made some nice references where it's the opposite of what he does in the book, and stuff like that. And it sounds like a nice idea. I will read them at some point, but eventually,
they're worth watching, reading.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong.
Just look at the book.
I am liking the modern day setting series. I've enjoyed the couple of episodes I have watched. But what seemed to bug me is that people who can't stand Doctor Who, it's not actually 100 miles away in terms of feeling.
Not.
I went, the way it's shot even feels like a Doctor Who episode.
Well, it's Stephen Moffat, so that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know that, but it's. But that was, I was going like, but these people are don't like Doctor Who but love Sherlock, and I went, it's the bloody same programme without the aliens in it. But that was I'm just wondered if other people thought that was all.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, maybe.
Write to us, somebody, please.
Yeah. Has anyone
write to us, somebody, please.
Has anyone ever written to us?
Send me a stamped envelope.
We've had people write to us, but they've been those spam emails with those ridiculous subject lines, which were so funny I had to read them out at the time.
No, I didn't know if someone had genuinely written to us.
One of our fans isn't a witch, if that helps.
Okay. Please write to us, we're oh so lonely. Anyway.
4-dimensional vacuum or whatever.
Friends. 4D?
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I think it's probably time to wrap up because we've got places to go, people to do,
dogs to walk.
So
Bitches to
do. Blake, you smoothie. In which I mean you're a fruit.
You can do yours from here.
So for the cast with me, Omer, Ibrahim.
You beat the streak!
Blake Armour.
What's wrong with the streak? Why did you have to beat him?
Well, stop. Put your clothes back.
Wasn't he the fastest thing on 2 feet?
I've been your host, Rob Blake. And if you've enjoyed the show, The Crazy Train, you can subscribe and share on iTunes.
There's also something wrong with you.
There's also a bit something wrong with you. Maybe you just don't like jokes. Maybe there's that.
Do you like things that aren't funny? Try The Crazy Train.
Yeah, I'm going to let you not write the slogans.
You're like 3 guys talking bollocks.
Powerade. It's fucking blue.
Bit of a glucarade. So if you've enjoyed the show, you can find us on iTunes. You can also find our most recent show, E14 Presents the Gamecast, which is us talking about video games and maybe some unplugged if we get the chance sometime. You can find us at emotionally14.com. That's the digits, not the letters. You can also find us on facebook.com/emotionally14 and Twitter @emotionally14. Also all the digits, no letters. So there are letters, but... 14.
You can't type them out.
1-4!
Buy an old Nokia 3310,
At
work
14.
out what numbers emotionally is, and type those
Fuck, that would be amazing. So as I say, we're on Twitter at emotionally14. I'm at Rob Wade Vision. Omer's at the Iron Turk Omer. Blake doesn't have time for Twitter, so fair enough. He's obviously...
Maybe you should time travel.
I'm a busy man.
Kept very busy. Not avoiding spoilers. So yeah, on the just to end on that note, so if you're going out your way to spoil things for people, you're a dick. But at the same time, if you don't want spoilers, steer clear of places where you could get them.
If you don't want people to die, steer clear of Game of Thrones.